Welcome to the Shop of Joy, the podcast that celebrates the heart and the soul of retail. Whether you are serving on the shop floor, you're leading a team, or simply someone who loves a brilliant customer moment, this space is for you. Each episode will explore how to turn your store into a joyful place for your customers, your colleagues, and just as importantly, for yourself. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome a very, very special guest in Lauretta Wright. She was one of the first people I thought about getting on when starting the podcast. She's an inspiration, a local celebrity, and honestly, someone who just radiates powerful, positive energy. Lauretta is the publisher of Life in magazines and editor of three much-loved community titles: Life in Orpington, Life in Bromley, and Life in Beckenham, which I have here. Each monthly magazine champions positive news, celebrates inspiring local people, and encourages readers to support local by shopping local. So this is a woman who knows what it means to create a community. Lauretta is also the founder of the Above and Beyond Bromley Business Awards, the ABBAs, an uplifting initiative that recognises individuals and businesses who go the extra mile for their customers, their community or their industry. The awards culminate in a prestigious celebration every November, which attracts over 300 attendees from across the Bromley borough. Lauretta lives in Loxbottom with her husband, two children, and her mischievous cats. And when she's not busy juggling deadlines, networking, and chatting with inspiring residents and business owners, you will find her planning her next getaway or tuning into feel-good podcasts like this one. Welcome, Lauretta. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Sam. Thank you so much for having me. What an introduction. Let's see if I can live up to it.
Hey, I'm sure you will, absolutely. So firstly, can you just tell me a little bit about your journey in publishing and what led you to becoming an editor?
Yeah, of course. So my background is as a travel journalist. I've always been a journalist, and I used to work up in London on some travel publications, trade publications, and I spotted a gap in the market in my local community for, as you said, feel good, uplifting, positive, inspiring magazine that celebrated everything positive about our communities. And I thought I would give it a go along with my friend and who is a graphic designer. So we started the first one in 2019 with Life in Orpington, and 2 years later we launched Life in Bromley, and then just last year we launched our third title, Life in Beckenham.
Amazing, amazing. And the biggest philosophy that I've seen through life in all the Life in magazines is this philosophy of positivity. Everything, it just, when I open the page, it just absolutely radiates positivity. There's not one bad news story in there, and I absolutely love it. What gave you that philosophy? What made you want to just have a positive magazine?
I haven't watched the news in God knows how many years. I'm a bit of an empath. I get affected quite easily by people's emotions or, news that is doom and gloom. And let's face it, there's a lot out there.
Mhm.
So I just thought, you get the slanderous news in the newspapers, and, why isn't there something? And I actually took my inspiration from a couple of places, one of them being Happy Fall magazine, just thinking there is so much we have to celebrate in the borough of Bromley. No one's really flagging it up. No one's highlighting the local heroes that we have. And local heroes don't have to be, someone who volunteers 20 hours a week. It just could be a neighbour who's brought in your milk while you're on holiday. Just the simple things in life that people really appreciate and want to sort of, say thank you to people. So that was the kind of the gap I spotted. Just something really joyful, and let's celebrate positivity rather than focusing on doom and gloom, because there's enough of it out there.
Mhm.
So it's just a little sprinkle of joy in everyone's sort of like every month, which yeah, it's just lovely to be able to do.
Oh, it definitely gives that. Absolutely. When you go to when you read through all the pages, you've got puzzles. Like my favorite part, the end is always the final thought at the end
Yeah.
as well, which really uplifts you. There's also a lot in the magazine about local and about retailers. How do you think the magazine celebrates a customer experience in retail?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, we have a variety of advertisers in the magazine, so not just retail. Some of them are though, and obviously they have their shop front, so that essentially is part of their ad campaign, if you like. They have the shop front, but some of them do want to increase their visibility, their brand visibility, not just their shop front, but in print, also on social media. I always say when it comes to sort of marketing, don't put all your eggs in one basket, sprinkle them around because clients or customers are going to find you in different ways. And I try to adopt that myself. But what we do in terms of, spreading joy is really encouraging advertisers to think about what they do that goes above and beyond. So, especially with the independents, I mean, we all want to stand out in our businesses, in our industries, and we have our healthy competition out there. But what do you do differently that no one else is doing, and really focus on that? So we do encourage our advertisers to send in stories. Perhaps they've raised money for a local charity, and we feature them regularly in the magazines. We don't charge for this. We really want to sort of encourage that engagement, and contributions from them to sort of share what they're doing, celebrate what they're doing, because it's important.
Well, why do you think you mentioned stories? Why do you think storytelling is so powerful in business, especially?
I think that whole human interest thing, isn't it? I mean,
Hmm.
you get a show like something like Big Brother. As soon as you put your face on social media, you could post about nature or what. As soon as someone's face comes on there, people are like, "Who's that? What have they got to say?" So I really try and encourage, people to capitalize on that. And it's difficult sometimes. It is because not everyone wants to get in front of the camera, and not everyone wants to have their specific voice on camera, but it is important. I think that whole human interest element, it's like, I mean, we could delve deep into the psychology of that, but I just think people are really interested in what others are doing and they want to hear it from the horse's mouth, so to
Hmm.
speak.
And do you think if a brand does incorporate storytelling, the emotional connection is going to be much stronger?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah,
Hmm.
they want something to what's the word? I mean, align with. They want to see that they yeah, something that they can associate with, something that they can appreciate themselves. So yeah, it is just sort of coming across as, real, authentic,
Yeah,
really are the two words that spring to mind. And there's no better way of doing that but than by storytelling and showing all that sort of, behind the scenes stuff. Because we're not all Instagram perfect, are we? We don't, we're not filtered in real life. Let's just show the real us. I think that's really important.
you do a lot of obviously you're in a lot of retailers. You speak to a lot of businesses with the magazine. Is there any businesses that you've seen recently, or any experiences that you've had recently that have gone, wow, that's really kind of knocked me for six. That was incredible.
The one I can think of is the drawing room, funnily enough, which is near where I live in Lock's
Hmm.
Bottom.
Okay.
The owner in there, Justine, she's very community focused. Community is everything to her, and you only have to go in the coffee shop to see. It's always packed. You always know when you walk in somewhere, it's buzzing, so you think, yeah, this is a good place. But there was one time, and I hadn't known Justine very well, and I'd gone in there. We were familiar, sort of like to say hello to, but I didn't really know her that well. And I was having a really bad day, and I don't know, for whatever reason, she must have picked up on it. I was just getting a takeaway coffee, and she handed me a little box, and she just said, "This one's on me." And inside was
Oh,
one of my favorite. It was lemon feather cake, and oh, honestly, that is just. It was just a little touch, and I didn't even have to explain that I was having a crap day. She must have picked up on it, but yeah, yeah, it's going above and beyond, isn't it? It's just sort of saying, "I appreciate you. Maybe you're having a bad day. Here's a little something to cheer you up." So yeah,
yeah.
that I think I try to do that as much. We talk about the above and beyond, and I always try and under promise and over deliver. That's kind of my mantra.
Yeah.
last week, I mean, I'll tell you a story of something that sort of just sprung to mind. So last week, I was on the phone to a potential advertiser, and it's a bit strange because I had called her on one number, and then she'd called back on another number, and I was surprised that it was her. And I said, "Oh, I thought your number was this," and she said to me, I don't, she said, what I've got is I've got my phone and then I've got an eSIM and I never know how to work out what number I can choose to call from. Funnily enough, Sam, I have exactly the same thing. I've got my phone and I've got an eSIM, so I knew
Okay.
exactly how to do it. So anyway, we had this conversation, we're chatting away, and I said to her at the end of the conversation, you might want to check your email. I've just sent you a simple set of instructions just on how to, to choose your eSIM and to, so it's step by step on how to reply to people. And she was that blown away. And it was
Incredible.
totally unexpected. And it's just that little thing. It's nothing to do with advertising, nothing to do with the magazines. I listened. I
Yeah.
knew how to fix her problem, and I just sent it to her. She was just over the moon. So it's little things like that, isn't it, that go a long
So,
way?
so crucial. Yeah. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with like anticipating somebody's needs and also personalizing the service as well. And you did both. You know, she needed the support there that nobody else would have given her. Like,
Mhm.
well,
Yeah.
would have been very rare to find. And then it was such a personalized experience. I think obviously personalization goes such a long way in creating an
Yeah.
incredible customer experience. Um, you started the Above and Beyond Bromley Business Awards. Not that easy for me to say, but it sounds much better when you say the ABBAs. I think
The others.
the ABBAs. It sounds great. What led you to start that? Because it's such an incredible initiative, and also the idea of going above and beyond, the idea of excelling, the idea of standing out as a business. I think is so key in this day and age where it's very difficult to surprise and delight these days. So, what made you want to start the Above and Beyond Business Awards?
It's one of those things that kind of came to me by accident, as very often in life things do.
Yeah.
And I'd gone in for a couple of awards myself, not locally, and somehow managed to win a couple of times. And I just thought, there must be something local, so I did a little bit of digging, and lo and behold, there was nothing. And I just thought that was really, really interesting. The last time any awards had been held in Bromley was pre-COVID, and since then there'd been nothing. So I thought, no, there's got to be something. I mean, Bromley's the largest of the London boroughs. Why on earth doesn't it have anything to celebrate and highlight local businesses who, let's face it, are contributing to the local economy? Something should be done.
Yeah.
So I contacted the council, and I contacted all the BIDs, the business improvement districts in the borough of Bromley, to have a meeting with them, because the last thing I wanted to do was, if anything was going to happen, was to tread on anyone's toes. But I had these meetings, Sam, and I couldn't believe not one of them was interested, or was going to sort of like organise anything to do with having any sort of business awards. And I just thought, what a huge shame, what a wasted opportunity
Yeah.
to encourage people. And I kind of said to them at the time, right, fine, if you're not going to do it, I am. And as soon as I said the words, I'm thinking, oh God, I've got to go ahead now and do it. So that was quite a few years ago now. So we're having our third event this year, and they're called the Above and Beyond Bromley Business Awards because we try to sort of encourage people to submit an entry or nominate. There's two ways of nominating for Community Hero or Business Personality of the Year for those who do go above and beyond, and that could just simply mean for their customers, just going the extra mile for their customers. It could mean for the wider community. Maybe they've collaborated or engaged, with other businesses or charities or organisations. Or it could actually mean for, the industry as a whole. We actually had one company in Bromley, and the work they were doing on an international scale, and they actually gone in for, I think it was Best Micro Company, because there was only five of them. And the power of what they were doing. I mean, they were, they'd invented some sort of water-based equipment that could, save the turtles. It was all very sustainable and
Wow.
environmental. And it was incredible that this little business in Bromley was, being, you know, sort of pushing themselves out internationally, and the only company in the world to do this. And it was just like, wow, this is great. This has got to continue, So I think, yeah, I mean, it's taken off. Tickets sold out the
Oh
first
my
year.
gosh, yeah, absolutely. I can't. Everywhere I go
Yeah.
on social media, this is going to be my first year attending the awards as well, so I'm really, really looking forward to it. And like I say, it's massively, massively taken off. So huge congratulations for kicking that off. How do you like create a experience on the night? Because it must be quite a big pressure to create this experience that lives up to the name. Obviously, now 3 years in a row.
It's massive. It is a big, but the thing is, I am a little bit of a perfectionist. I do dot the I's and cross the T's, not just once, about 10 times. And I do remember actually the first time we held it a few years ago at the Warren, it's now moved to Oakley House. But people that came up to me and said, "Wow, this is so much bigger and better than I thought it was going to be." It's almost like having an awards in London, that sort of caliber. And I was a bit taken aback, thinking, "Well, that's amazing. I've got to keep this up now." That was the other thing. But I mean, I'm so lucky. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to do something like this on this scale on my own. So I've got an amazing team surrounding me. We have an ABBA's committee, so there's five of us on the committee. So I don't make any decisions solely. We're completely transparent. I want to keep things that way. Integrity is very important to
Mhm.
me, so I need to keep things unbiased. And we all collectively decide on everything from what we're going to eat that night to what the entertainment's going to be, the decorations, you name it. It's a collective process. So, yeah, that's definitely a top tip from mine. Surround yourself with amazing people.
Amazing, brilliant, brilliant. And what does the ideal winner for best business look like?
Oh, that's a tricky one because do you know what? I've never been a judge. Obviously, I can't be a judge at my own awards.
True.
I'm just
Yeah,
a
yeah. Got to be
facilitator.
unbiased, completely unbiased.
I,
Yeah.
I really do. We change the judges every year. I mean, what I would say to someone in terms of top tips if they are going to submit
Yeah.
an entry, and what I would always say is, um, and it always surprises me when they come in for the committee to sort out ready for the judges. If you've got a question, and say for example the question is two or three sentences, don't write one word or two words. Write like at least double the amount that the question is asking.
Mhm.
Really go into detail. It's a really good idea to show evidence. And when people say that, or especially if they're a startup, oh, what evidence can we show if they, don't have any sort of testimonials to their name or anything like that, then what you were talking about earlier about that human interest, show pictures, show
Mhm.
accreditations, have links to your social media or to your website, just so that the judges have that additional connection with you. I mean, you can kind of say anything on paper, but words really bring a story to life.
Definitely.
And just talk about how you go above and beyond. They're called the above and beyond for a reason. How are you going? How are you not just doing your job, which everyone's expecting you to do? What are
Mhm.
you doing that makes you a little bit different than anyone else? And what are you doing? That goes above and beyond.
Mhm.
So definitely highlight that. Like I said, I've never been a judge. I wouldn't want to be. It must be awful to have to be a judge and decide. So I stay clear of that.
Hey, well, I'm definitely looking forward to it this year. Now, you've just launched an app as well,
Yes.
which so you've got the three magazines, you've got an app, you've got the Above and Beyond Bromley Business Awards. So how do you and you've got two children and two dogs. Sorry, two cats.
Congrats.
How do you have any tips in juggling business, family? How does it all work for you?
Well, I think first and foremost, I've probably got a very understanding family. I'm passionate about what I do, and I think that really comes across when I talk about my work. And I don't really see it as work. I know it's work, but
Mhm,
to me, it feels like a hobby. I love what I do. I
mhm,
can't, and I'm so very fortunate and very grateful that I have the opportunity to do what I do. In terms of juggling, I think something that's really kind of comes to the forefront for me when things have been added onto year after year. We launched the magazine, then a second, then a third. We're up digital issues, then the app and the ABBAs, and it's almost like I keep adding to my to my workload. obviously, surround yourself with a great team if you've got the means to be able to do so. But prioritizing is so important. I think
Mhm.
that whole, yeah, just being able to prioritize, because we can get so wrapped up. And I, for one, am one of those that can go down that, the rabbit's hole. So even when you're working on a task, simple things like closing your email down,
Mhm.
just, not having it open, but simply closing it until the task is done. um Batch working, that sort of thing has really worked for me. I'm a big believer in, working smarter, not harder, all that productivity, using automation, yeah, that sort of thing. But it's prioritizing, and
Yeah.
because we can become overwhelmed, let's face it. We're, most of us are just juggling all the time. So
Definitely. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And you were actually the one that introduced me. You did a fantastic speech at an event. And you talked about the 5 minute journal. And you're the one that actually introduced me to the 5 minute journal, which I do every
Yeah,
morning.
amazing.
And it's a gratitude journal. Can you just talk a little bit about that and the importance of that? Because when you spoke about it in your speech, it really hit home for me.
That's very kind, Sam. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I started it, 6 years ago now. I've never missed a day. You write in it every morning and every evening. For me, it really keeps me grounded. The reason that I started it, as I said to you earlier, my gratitude is very important, and I truly believe if you're grateful in life, you lead a happy life. So, I started that after I was diagnosed with breast cancer 6 years ago, just to sort of like remind myself of, there are good things. There is the silver lining, and I haven't been able to stop, because it really starts you, fresh in the morning when you wake up and you just think, right, what are three things I'm grateful for? An affirmation. What would be great? What would be great about? And it kind of cements it in your mind that this might be the course of the day. And then you do the reflection in the evening, three great things that happened to you today. And it's just, yeah, it's just a really sort of calming experience, and to look at things, and it's almost directional as well. I think subconsciously, not necessarily, you're thinking about it, but
Mhm.
when you're writing these thoughts down, I mean, how do you find it?
Oh, I honestly like starting the day with gratitude. I feel like I'm naturally quite a positive person, anyway. But starting my own business and with all the challenges that come with that, sometimes, like you mentioned, you juggle business, you juggle family, there's a lot going on, and I think for me, it really helped me kind of see the wood through the trees, and
Yeah,
it helped me go, okay, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, and this is why I'm grateful for it, and these are the things that I've also got to be excited about, because right now it might feel like it's tough, but there are a lot of things to be happy about. There are a lot of things to be excited about, and you don't a lot of the time give yourself that time to think and give yourself
yeah.
that time to meditate and reflect. And I'm not sure about yourself, but I've tried meditation and didn't kind of do it on and off, but I don't think I'm very good at it. I think it's something I need to practice a little bit better. So I think this is my form now, I feel, of meditation. It's like a gratitude sort of meditation in the morning. So it's had a very, very profound effect, I would say.
Yeah. And what
Yeah.
about affirmations? Do you do any affirmations in the morning?
Yeah, so I think the biggest kind of affirmations for me, I always do affirmations, but I don't generally say them out loud, and it's one of those things is I'll do them when I'm brushing my teeth, or I do, but I'm just, and I suppose that's a form of meditation, but it's when I'm doing affirmations to myself, it's more sort of like I look at other people and go, if they can achieve that, then I can do that. And I
Yeah.
say those kind of things to myself. I go,
Yeah.
look at if they can do a TED talk, then I can do that. They've shown me the path. I can do it. I can do. And so it's much more affirming to myself that these goals that I'm kind of always setting for myself are achievable, and almost
Yeah.
like wearing down the pathways to the goals before I get there mentally. What about you? Are you a big affirmationer?
I think like you, I like reading them rather than saying them. But
Mhm.
I've got a little book of affirmations that I keep by my, and every time I hear some, one that's really good, I just scribble it in the book. And then yeah, it's I've got my little routine, my little ritual in the morning, and my wind down routine at night. And I'm really trying to inject more of the affirmations in. But what I end up doing is just reading them, flicking through the book and read rather than like you saying them out loud. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
but it's definitely, feel like it definitely feeds the soul, whatever way you're doing them. If
yeah,
you've got great affirmations, I mean, we spoke about, when was it? A couple of months ago. You mentioned Miracle Morning.
yes.
And I read that book a little while ago when I was on holiday as well, and it was a massive game changer again for me. The savers in the
Yeah,
morning, the six things you could do in the morning, and I must admit I don't do all of them like
yeah.
religiously every time, but doing the exercise, doing some writing, which is the 5 minute journal. I kind of feel like I'm doing the meditation side of it as well. Yeah, it's that's been a big game changer. Is there any other books that you're reading or that you've read that you think these are books that really changed the game for you?
Sam, I could talk books with you all day,
I know. I was thinking how long we've got. We've got a little bit of time.
But just touching on the miracle morning, and I think for people like yourself, with young children, it's that calm, it's that peace first thing in the morning. And there's another one, the 5 a.m. club. If you're getting
Mhm.
up, because I don't, maybe people don't know about the miracle morning. Basically getting up an hour before everyone else, before their house wakes up, to have that clarity to your day, and it really sets you up for the day. In fact, I think I get more work done in that hour in the morning, or than I do.
100%. Yeah. 100% agree. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've got loads of recommendations. Chicken Soup for the Soul. I don't know if you've read the series of books Chicken Soup for the Soul. It's so uplifting. And if you were, ever in doubt of human kindness, read
Mhm.
those. It really
Okay.
sort of it's yeah, they're lovely. I've just started reading Wild Hope by Donna Ashworth. It's a series of thought-provoking poems. Again, good for the
Nice.
soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. I made a little note because I knew I'd forget the name. So next to my bed, I'm just about to start Make Work Brilliant by
Okay.
Rod Junkins. It's about unlocking your creativity. So that's next for me. I like to
Mhm.
think I'm quite a creative person anyway, but there's always room for more, right?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I've got a couple of wish list books. So Sarah Davis, she's recently launched, from
I've
Dragon's
seen
Den.
that. The 6 minute entrepreneur. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
want to put my books on that. Yeah, so I'm
Me too.
excited. The Go-Giver by Bob Berg and John David Mann. It's a fab little parable about giving more value than you take. Perfect, for anyone in business who is a believer in heart-led success,
Mhm.
basically. Um, I'm just going to move away from books briefly.
Yeah.
I've because
Yeah.
I've just got a bit obsessed with, well, your podcast for a start. I love listening to that. But also, Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO,
Mhm.
his YouTube videos. I love the people that he interviews, and he did one with a guy called Chase Hughes, who I've now subscribed to on YouTube, all about body language. I'm a big believer in all this sort of, the psychology, how people behave,
Mhm.
little signals, and I just find him absolutely fascinating. So I'm a bit obsessed with him at the moment. Yeah, really interesting.
So
But yeah,
when do you listen to podcasts? Is it something that like is it throughout the day as you're working, or how do
no.
podcasts fit into your life?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the brain that can do two things at once, so I can't
No, me
listen and
neither.
do another.
Me neither. But I honestly don't genuinely believe anybody can. I truly think multitasking is a myth. Like you can't
Exactly.
put yourself fully into one thing and
Yeah,
also be putting yourself fully into another thing at the same time. You're not going to get the right output. So yeah,
100%.
yeah, you're not going because if you start listening to a podcast, I'm the same as you, or an audio book or something, your brain starts going, oh, that's interesting, listening to
Yeah,
that. And
yeah,
then by the time it takes you about 30 minutes to get into a flow state, by the time you've snapped out of that flow state, you're almost resetting the clock you got
Yeah,
another 30 minutes to try and get back in. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm the same as you. I can't do
No,
both at the
no,
same
can't do
time.
two things at once. So you kind of had to set aside time. I mean, I think the best times to do it for me personally are when I'm driving, because
Mhm.
driving is just automatic. You're just doing it, aren't you?
Yeah.
And listening to that, or walking. I have been known to listen to them as I'm falling asleep, which isn't the best thing because it starts the mind ticking, and then I'll have woken up and it'll stop. So I must have fallen asleep
Yeah.
to it, but subconsciously it's going in. Who
No, it
knows?
is, and I think it's what you listen to, isn't it? You know, if you're listening to true crime as you're falling asleep, then maybe. But if you're listening to like inspiration as you're falling asleep, and the good thing is on the podcast app, you can do that. Turn off when one episode ends now
Yes,
because
yes,
I'm the
exactly.
same, and it's a yeah, absolute game changer. So in terms of books, then. What would you say are there if you would recommend a new somebody that's getting into self-development, personal development? We're both big fans of it. Is there anything that you would recommend as like the first couple of books that they should read? So,
Oh, I mean, start with why,
oh,
that
incredible
always,
book. Yeah,
yeah, I think that's really important. The chimp paradox. I mean, there's so many, but I think start with why. That was a game changer for me.
yeah,
Asking the why of your business, not the what and the how are you going to do it, but actually the fundamental question, why are you doing it? Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
how about you? I'm interested to see what you think.
Yeah. I'd say if I had to pick a few that's really, really changed the game for me. One of them would be Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just incredible. It feels like it's incredibly modern, but it was written over 100 years ago.
yeah. Mm.
And the power in it, and when you're reading through the book, it's there's a secret in this book, and it's about really honing laser focusing your thoughts on one thing and
Mm,
then
mm.
and then working hard with that very one thing in mind. And it's essentially a kind of living proof, and these lots and lots of examples in it of you get what you think about. It's like yeah, essentially you achieve what you focus on and you get what you think about. And so for me that really taught me laser focused thinking. I think I
Yeah,
really enjoy a lot of Ryan Holiday's books as well.
yeah.
So Ego is the Enemy. That's a brilliant one as well.
Yeah.
What's the other one called? I'm just thinking. The Obstacle is the Way.
Right.
So I've got
Yeah.
over there. I read that a couple of years ago. That changed the game for me. Also, seeing on my bookshelf what I've got up here as well. Probably one of them that is I come back to this all of the time, and it's got
I've
huge
got
this
that
book.
one. I've got that
Isn't it
one. I've got that one.
incredible? Isn't it?
Really good.
It's incredible, and it's
Yeah.
it's massive. It's really big for a reason, right? So I'd
Yeah.
say yeah, Atomic Habits is great. Also, I
Yeah.
really enjoyed this one, Tools of the Time. Now this is like I wouldn't say it's one of the best ever, but it's a really good one to dip it in and out if you're starting a
Yeah.
business, because it's got lots of different entrepreneurs, it's got health advisors, it's got people from all different walks of life
Yeah.
talking about their morning routine, talking about how they grow their business. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure, have you read Tools of the
I
Time?
haven't read that one. No, I'm going to write that
It's
one down.
strong.
I like the E-Myth as well. What about the E-Myth? Have you read
Oh,
that?
I haven't read that. I haven't read that.
It's really
Okay.
good. Yeah,
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 all
yeah.
right. All right. I'm gonna give that a read, definitely. But no, no, we could talk about books. We could talk about books forever.
You've opened the can of
I
worms,
know,
honestly.
I know.
I do love meeting people because, I met someone the other day and they were like, oh, all business books are the same. And, you don't want to sort of like, I thought that what a shame that they see it like that. They're
Yeah,
pigeonholing, all business or self-care or self-help books. And actually, no, they're not. And you take from them, what you need. And I can't pretend that we know everything. We don't know everything.
no.
That thirst for knowledge, that thirst for learning, I've got to keep that up. It's always great to learn from, others. It's just amazing.
100%. No, it's, and I think the thing that people miss about reading these books is the application. You can pick this up, you can read it on a train, you can put it down and go, that was great, and then you're going to forget it.
Yeah,
that's just not how human biology is. You're going to forget. But if you reread it or study it, or you make notes on it and feel about
yeah,
how it applies to your life and how it applies to your business, but you've got to be active when you're reading.
yeah,
That's what
100%.
people miss about these self-development books. But yeah, I've got bookshelves full, so we're gonna have to do some trade-offs
I
soon.
would love that. I'm going to hold you to
Yeah, all right.
that.
Deal. Absolute deal. Um, so this podcast is called The Shop of Joy. So we do have to talk about joy, right? And we like to talk about positive things. I know you like to talk about positive things on the podcast. It's you and your team, you've got a lot on with the three magazines, right? How do you bring joy to your team?
We all have our wobbly days, let's face it,
Yeah.
100%. We're big believers in the power of good company, a good chat, a good cup of tea, and maybe a chocolate or a biscuit, and just being honest and open with each other. I think communication with the team is really important. And what I really try to instill is that everyone feels that they've contributed. So taking people's ideas on board, you hear of founders of companies and they're very headstrong and they're very convinced that what they say goes or what they say is right, but actually, you know, I can't remember who quoted it. It'll be in one of our business books, but it's one of those situations when you are expanding your team, always look for people who have strengths that you don't. So
Yeah.
your weaknesses are their strengths. So I've always tried to, kind of adopt that. In terms of joy, reminding ourselves of the small wins. A lot of the time I do work by myself. We're only really together, or most twice during the week.
Mhm.
The whole team. We come together obviously for our monthly meetings, but when I am working alone, and yeah, I have off days, I'm only human. And it's reminding myself of, I mean, next to my desk, I've got a board of lots of positive comments from readers, from advertisers, and I only have to sort of glance at that and reread some of those to think, no, I'm making a difference. I am making a difference. So yeah, and we'll go out and we'll celebrate the small wins. It's really hard to, sorry, it's really easy to get into that whole look where you're going, but actually have a look back at how far you've come and give
Yeah.
yourself a pat on the back. It's important to celebrate those wins. Not many of us do that. Give yourself a pat on the back and, go out with the team to raise a glass or go and have a celebratory meal. I think that those little things like that spark joy, don't they?
Oh, so important. And I think, like I say, celebrating the wins, actually putting time aside to do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you say, you're not because when you get in it in the weeds, it's very difficult to actually to feel like celebrating anything. So setting aside like you do in the morning and with your gratitude, that's a form of celebrating the wins, and then obviously taking the team out to celebrate the
Yeah,
win.
and not being sort of not taking yourself too seriously.
Mm.
Life's fun. Inject some fun. I mean, my husband would probably say I've got a very childish sense of humour. I do laugh at everything, but it's really important to have fun in life. We're only here once. Go out, enjoy it, make the most of it. So
So
definitely
true.
aligned with your positivity and yeah, but being realistic, of course, we all have off days. It's just seeing it as a blip. It's a temporary, and reminding yourself this is just temporary. It's
Yeah.
not going to last forever.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, that's great. And if there was somebody that was going to start a business like yours, what tips would you give them starting off?
as in launch
Launch
magazine.
magazines, yeah.
Oh, I like that question. I don't think I've ever been asked that before. Do you know, it's really weird. The first thing that springs to mind is when you're launching a magazine, the first thing you've got to do, bizarrely, is look where you're going to distribute it.
Okay.
Because, yeah, you'd think, oh, yeah, what content you're going to have and all that. But actually, you've got to get in with the community because obviously, we go through letterboxes, we're on the desktop on people's app, but we also leave them at selected points dotted throughout the borough. So, what we do is we go out and we talk to people in the community. We'll go and talk to Tesco's or Sainsbury's or the railway stations and say, can we leave our community magazines in your venue? Because when we publish that magazine, we've got to have, first and foremost, how they're distributed and we list our stockists. And it's just bizarre. So whenever I've launched a magazine, the first thing I do is go out and speak to people in the community and
Okay.
say, would you be happy to? It's always hard when you're launching your first one because you've got nothing to show them. You're selling an idea in your head. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of
but
course.
that was obviously with the Orpington, the very first one. It was very hard,
Mhm.
but second and third one's a lot easier. But yeah, just getting in with the community, especially if they are community focused, driven, getting out there, market yourself in different ways. Don't just be on social media, but go to networking, meet people like you, go to workshops like the ones you host. Learn from others. So
Yeah.
yeah, that would be my top tips.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks, Loretta. So, just before we wrap up, I just want to know about, because this is the Shop of Joy podcast, what is the thing that brings you, or the thing that brings you the most joy? The one thing, or
Wow,
maybe two things.
professionally or
Let's go
personally?
professionally and personally then.
Oh,
So
I
two
get two.
things.
Oh,
You
good.
get two. You get two. Yeah.
I think for me, professionally, the fact that I'm making a difference to people sings to my heart. That's all I want to do. I just want to inspire people. I want to make people happy. So the thing that makes me happiest is when I get feedback from either our it's mainly readers actually. Love your magazine, or if they don't get the magazine, why didn't I get my magazine? Rather than seeing it as a complaint, I think yes, victory. They're
I
missing it.
love
They
it.
want
Yeah.
So I love receiving feedback and just the little things, how I've helped them, or how I've entertained their kids with a colouring page or whatever it is. It's just lovely. So that was my biggest joy in doing the magazines. I think sometimes giving is receiving, and that's what sings to my heart. So
Mhm.
definitely. And then personally, I'll get in trouble if I don't say my family, won't I?
That's a given. That's a given. Your family's a given.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I really I think it's important to, if you're with a partner, I get a lot of joy from being out socializing with friends, and so I think making time for people, not just family, but friends, is really important. We can get so wrapped up in, the everyday life, but you do the things you love. Go for a walk on the beach, bake. I love baking, to switch off, I bake. But just really make time for those little things. Just be grateful. Just be grateful for what you have. There's always someone worse off than you in life. And I just think that's really important to remind yourself of that every day. Just be grateful for the little things.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Loretta. That was
You're
brilliant.
more
Thank
than
you
welcome.
so much for giving your time to the podcast today. Remember, so if you're based in Bromley, you can pick up a copy of Life in Magazines. If you're based in Beckenham or Orpington, you can also pick up a copy of Life in Magazines as well. Download the app on the App Store. It is a brilliant app. It tells you what's going on near local to you as well. Get loads and loads of information about local businesses on the app as well. And don't forget, you've got the Abbas. When's the Abbas, Loretta?
Abbas is Thursday, the 13th of November this year.
Thursday, the 13th of November. Excellent. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed the podcast, please pass it on and have a fantastic day.